Okay, so day 2, circumference and area of a circle. The area is, if I had a circle and like shaded it all in. So it's the amount of flat space a circle takes up. The formula is A equals pi r squared. And pi is 3.14 and it goes on forever. So we're just going to use the button in our calculator. On this one, it is blue above our little arrow, so I would press the second button to get to that. Where r is your radius. Okay, in circumference, so if I have a circle, circumference is the distance around the edge of the circle, so all the way around. And it's not the degrees, like it's not 360, it's a distance, so length. So we have two different formulas here. Circumference equals pi times d, where d is your diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r. So 2 of your radius is your diameter. So where's your radius? For most problems, we're given the radius. So most of the time we use this second formula. So going from radius to diameter, radius is half of the diameter, and the diameter is twice the radius. So next section, it says find the specified measure by plugging into the formula and finding the missing variable. Round to the nearest tenth. So given that r equals 13 feet, find the area. So area equals pi r squared, so 13 squared. Area equals, in my calculator, I'm plugging in pi 13 squared. 530.92, so 530.9. Feet squared. Number 2, given that d equals 20, so that's the diameter is 20, find the circumference. So c equals pi times diameter, so pi times 20. Plug that into my calculator, and I get 62.83, so 62.8 inches. Number 3. All right, so this time we're given the area and we need to find the radius. So we need to do a little bit of algebra here. So area equals 2 pi r. We're going to use that formula. So we're going to plug in 132 for A equals 2 pi r. So we want to get r alone, so I'm going to, 2 pi and r are all being, ooh, I mix up the formulas. Woo. I think I caught that. So area formula is pi r squared. Pi r squared. So 132 equals pi r squared. So I want to get r alone, so first I have to move pi. I'll divide by pi. So 132 divided by pi, I get 42.06. So r squared equals 42. To get r alone, I would square root both sides. So I'm just going to leave it in my calculator and square it. So second squared. And then I want my answer. So it's blue here above the negative. So I'll press second negative. So it does the square root of my answer. And I get 6.48, so 6.5. And we're dealing with centimeters. Number 4. Now I've got circumference. I want to find the diameter, so I'm going to use the formula that uses diameter. So C equals pi d. If their circumference is 121, I'll plug that in for C. So 121 equals pi times the diameter. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi. So diameter equals 121 divided by pi, 38.51, so 38.5 miles. Next one. So stepping it up a notch. Here is our area, 32.23. I want to find the circumference. So in order to do that, I need to first find R. So find radius. Then plug into circumference formula. So I'm going to use A equals pi r squared. So 32.23 equals pi r squared. First, divide by pi. So r squared equals 32.23 divided by pi, getting 10.3, and then square root that. So square root of my answer is 3.2. So r equals 3.2. Now I can plug that into my circumference formula. C equals 2 pi r. So C equals 2 times pi times 3.2. I'm getting 20.10, so 20.1 inches. You see if you can do number 6. Okay, hopefully you've paused so you can check it with me now. We have the circumference. We want to find the area. So first we're going to set this equal to 2 pi r. So 48.6 equals 2 pi r. I'm trying to get r alone, so I'm going to divide by 2 and pi at the same time. When I do that in my calculator, I'm going to make sure I put 2 pi in parentheses. If I just typed in 48.6 divided by 2 pi, first my calculator is going to divide by 2, and then it's going to multiply by pi. So it's going to come out wrong. So notice how this number is different than 48.6 divided by parentheses 2 pi. Okay, so this bottom one is the one that is correct because 48.6 needs to divide by 2 and pi. So 7.7. So r equals 7.7. Plug that into my area formula. A equals pi r squared, so pi 7.7 squared. And I'm just going to use 7.7. I'm not going to use this number. I am okay rounding. So pi 7.7 squared. 186.26, so 186.3 feet squared. Okay, next page. We are going to begin talking about arc length and finding sector area. So arc length, remember the arc is a portion of the outside of the circle. So it's a measure of an intercepted arc. So it's a portion of the circumference. So arc length would be here. sector area. So the sector is the square space taken up, which is a portion of the circle's area. So if I have this central angle here and I have my arc, the sector area is really finding the area of this whole portion. So not the area of the entire circle, just this section. So we can create a proportion, or two fractions that equal, to figure this out. So proportions from circle measurements. Use the left side of the proportion when finding arc length. Use the right side of the proportion when finding sector area. What you're looking for is x. So if I want to find my arc length, that would end up being x over my circumference, so I would be ignoring this part. Set equal to the angle measure, central angle, over 360. If I'm looking for sector area, it's still angle measure over 360 equals sector area. So let's go ahead and try one. So circle A, so that means this is A, has a radius of 14 inches and a central angle of 132. So I'm just going to sketch what that could look like. So a radius of 14 and a central angle of 132. Find the length of the intercepted arc. So from here to here. So find the arc length. Round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to create a proportion. Typically the fraction on the right, I always do the angle measure, so 132 over 360. Because that's the proportion the angle is of the whole circle. Now what we're looking for is the portion of the circumference, my orange, in relation to the entire circumference. So I'm going to look for the arc length, divide that by the entire circumference. So 2 pi r or pi d. So we were given the radius, so 2 pi 14. What do we do next? Cross multiply. So 360 times x is 360. X equals 132 times 2 pi 14. Okay, so then to get x alone, I would divide by 360. So x equals, so I'm plugging that all into my calculator. 132 times 2 times pi times 14. Enter. Divide by 360. 32.25, so 32.3. And we got inches. All right. Number 2, find the area of the sector of a circle with a central angle measure of 51. So it's a little bit smaller. Something kind of like this maybe. So 51 degrees. Radius is 22. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the area of this shaded region. So using our proportion up here, I typically always put, even though these are here, I kind of flip them. So I always end up having my angle 51 over 360 just to keep it consistent. This time we're looking for a portion of our area. So this portion of the area of the whole circle. So the ratio will be our missing sector area over the entire area, which is pi r squared, so pi 22 squared. Cross multiply, 360 times x is 360x equals 51 times pi 22 squared. Divide by 360. So x equals, plugging it in, 51 pi 22 squared divide by 360. 215.4. And we're dealing with inches squared. So if you want to see if that's realistic, you could find the entire area. So pi 22 squared. Oops, that's not right. Okay, and you can see if it has the same ratio. So 215 over 1,520, it's 0.14 around, and then 51 over 360, 0.14, so they have the same ratio, or should be really close because those numbers were rounded. Okay, next section here, it says given a regular polygon is inscribed in a circle with a radius of 18. Find the length of AB in the figure shown, given that points A and B are consecutive vertices. So these are going to be consistent through all of these. We have a square this time. So if this is A and this is B, we're going to create a sector here. What we are tasked with doing first is figuring out what this angle measure is. So 360 divided by, if I cut all of these into triangles, I would be dividing by 4. And I get 90 degrees. So find the length. So we're looking for arc length. So 90 over 360. X over, we're looking for the arc length. We're talking about a portion of the circumference. So 2 pi r, and our radius is 18. So 360x equals 90 times 2 pi 18. And we'll divide by 360. So x equals. So 90 times 2 pi 18. Divide by 360. 28.3. centimeters. You try 4 on your own. Okay, so I'm labeled as A, B, creating myself a sector here. I want to find the length of this arc from A to B. This angle that I've just created is 1 of 3, so 360 divided by 3 is 120. So 120 degrees, our radius is still 18. Finding sector area, so x over 2 pi 18 equals, the angle is different now, 120 over 360. 360x equals 2 pi 18 times 120. Two pi 18 times 120 is this number, divided by 360. 37.69, so 37.7 centimeters. Okay, next page. So, same thing here. Creating a triangle, 18, A, B. I need to find this angle. So that's 360 divided by, basically how many sides do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 60 degrees. I want to find the length from A to B. So arc length over entire circumference, 2 pi 18 equals central angle over 360. Cross multiply, 360x equals 60 times 2 pi 18. So first, 60 times 2 pi 18 divide by 360. 18.84, so 18.8. centimeters. Last one, we have a pentagon. So AB, 18. This angle here is 360 divided by 5, which is 32. So we're looking for the distance from A to B. So a portion of the circumference, x, is the whole circumference, 2 pi 18, equals 72 over 360. (72) times 2 pi 18 divided by 360, 22.61, so 22.6. All right, last two here. So it says, find the radius given the arc length formed by the central angle is approximately 5.76 centimeters and the sector formed has an area of approximately 15.84. All right, so this time let's take a look at our proportions here. So in our formula, right now we were given, in this last problem, the arc length and the sector area, and that's typically what we've been looking for. And we're trying to find the radius. So we don't have the entire circumference or the entire area. So all of these are set equal. So let me show you why we can just set these equal. So in this, I would have the arc length, which is 5.76 over the entire circumference, 2 pi r, set equal to our angle, which we don't know, over 360, set equal to our area, 15.84, over the entire area, pi r squared. What we're looking to do here is we could ignore this, and next time we don't even have to write it. We want to set these two equal to each other, and we can because they are set equal to each other right now. So we will kind of ignore this middle piece and set these equal. What we're going to do next is cross multiply. So I'll save myself some steps and go ahead and do that now. So cross multiplying here and here. So I have 5.76 times pi r squared equals 15.84 times 2 pi r. So I'm cross multiplying and hopefully I can reduce for r now. So I will simplify on this side, 15.84 times 2. So I have 5.76 pi r squared equals 15.84 times 2 is 31.68 pi r. So I need to reduce for r. If I, divide both sides by pi, it actually cancels on both sides. So now for my r's, both sides have r's. So if I want to take this r over here and combine it, I would be dividing by r because everything's multiplication right now. They would cancel, divided by r, and I would subtract the powers. So this would become r to the first. So it's 5.76 r to the first equals 31.68. Now all I have to do is divide by 5.76. So r equals 31.68 divided by 5.76. Oops, I typed that in wrong. So I'm getting 5.5. So r equals 5.5 centimeters. Give 8 a shot. Okay, last one here. Let's find the radius given the arc length formed by a central angle is approximately 5.74 and the sector formed has an area of approximately 27.14. So I'm going to set up a proportion here. The arc length formed is 7.54 over the entire arc circle, which is circumference, so 2 pi r, equals the area, 27.14 of the sector over the entire area, pi r squared. Cross multiply 7.54 pi r squared equals multiplying 27.14 times 2 is 54.28 pi r. Okay, we have pi's on both sides. They cancel. Because it's multiplication, I'd be dividing. If I divide this r over, it cancels here, and it brings this down to 1. So 7.54 r equals 54.28. Divide by 7.54, so r equals 54.28 divided by 7.54, 7.19, so 7.2 centimeters.